Tonight on the BigFooty Big Brother podcast. Intruders everywhere. We discuss the newest members of the Big Brother house as they try to make their mark. We discuss the latest eviction and nominations. And Tully makes a surprise return to the Big Brother stage to answer all of those hard questions. All that and more coming right up.
Get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, 'cause I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, 'cause I get a good feeling, yeah.
Yes, we're back. Welcome to episode 10 of the BigFooty Big Brother podcast. I'm your host, ODN, voted most likely to host a grass-growing podcast just to get some attention. Having graduated top of her class in anger management during the week after threatening her teacher, welcome back, Mrs. ODN.
Hello, everybody. I'm in a really good mood tonight.
And has developed sudden onset narcolepsy due to a dramatic loss of excitement in the house this week. Please applaud loud enough to wake up, Phantom 13.
Yay!
Good evening, guys. It is past my bedtime and I'm struggling through it, but it's been a dull week.
Well, it hasn't been an awful lot going on, and you'd think with new housemates and whatnot.
You guys are being whingy. It's been great.
Come on. They're throwing the kitchen sink at the joint and nothing is happening.
Oh, it's just great.
Okay, look, let's discuss.
When you are a true Big Brother fan, it doesn't matter how exciting or how boring it is in the house, you still love it.
Yeah, it comes from all those years of watching up late and watching people sleep for 3 hours at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like to watch people sleep. I like to watch you sleep. No.
Oh, okay. We started off the week with, the intruder eviction, but there was a whole lot of weirdness surrounding this whole thing. The housemates didn't know if they were voting or if the public were voting, and it turned out it was a jump-in poll. That was voting, so the public were voting for Justin and Nathan.
But they could only vote on that bloody jump-in app.
Well,
and I'm telling you, on my Samsung, I can't get the jump-in app.
Yeah, well, look, and
I wasn't able to.
From what I was seeing out in the public, I thought people wanted Justin to stay in because he was stirring it up a bit. Now, he was a bit weird. I think he might have been a bit psychotic.
He was throwing those prawn crackers across that table.
I was a little bit afraid of him, and we had rumours over the weekend that we hadn't seen.
Oh, look, let's just explain quite quickly. I'm not trying to take over your little potty that you've got going, but honestly, we nearly called a snap podcast because the drama was so high on Twitter, like Facebook, it was going off. There were rumours flying high and low. Sorry, because I was following it all very, very, very closely. So I was, even though I don't run the potties, I was about to call a snap one. Because it was exciting. There were rumours like Justin this and Justin that and Justin's... Oh, it was crazy.
There you go, Phantom. We nearly had to go and jump out of bed, put our pants on and slide down a pole.
Well, I do have my red podcast phone just at the end of the bed for emergencies, and I was waiting for it to ring and it didn't come. So I assume that it had all been put out. But
it was full on.
Well, there were rumours that there had been an altercation of some sort in the house and that Justin had been removed forcibly, and this is all kind of stemmed from, somebody on Facebook saying that he knew somebody working around the Big Brother.
Which obviously that person now obviously has no job.
Well, and also the fact that we hadn't seen the intruders in any of the live feeds or mentioned anywhere since apparently Thursday night. Now this is the issue with not having any Big Brother coverage over the weekend.
Absolutely ridiculous. They should be shows.
Look, Big Brother, they eventually came out and they dispelled the rumour and they said, look, for the sake of ratings and whatnot, they hold a little bit back. Now, somebody's made a point that the show used to rate pretty well when we used to have a 24-hour live stream. So yeah, it's sort of, it's a brave new world, people, and this is the direction that Big Brother's taken, and you either like it or you don't. So, if anything did happen, then it's been covered up sufficiently. And
can I just add something there? Sorry, quite briefly. Now, in last night's show, Michaela let something slip, and because it was a live eviction, they didn't have time to edit it out. I've had 5 people come to me, went back through the eviction, had a look. Michaela says, I can't remember who it was, she was sitting next to someone on the, the lounge, and said, something about Justin left Friday night. So, hence to all the rumours and that were flying round, he wasn't supposed to have left on the Friday. Everyone was saying that he was forced to leave the house, right?
Yeah.
But he left Friday. So Friday night he got taken out of the house. And everyone that were listening to the rumours went, there must be some truth in it, because we've just heard Michaela say on live television, which they didn't have time to edit out, that Justin actually left the house Friday night.
Well, they called it a live intruder eviction. And that's not what we got.
No, exactly. He left Friday night.
There's people are free to speculate, and that's what's going to continue to happen. And maybe one day the truth will come out. But it would have been interesting if they've covered up anything that's happened in the house. Then that's poor form.
Yeah, but you think Big Brother would have said, "Look, housemates, you are forbidden to talk about anything about Justin, when he left, why he left, blah blah blah." But he didn't say that.
If it did happen, it's going to come out. Essentially, all the housemates will come out and do their interviews. Someone will get asked about it and someone will say. I'm not one to normally jump at shadows and believe in the boogeyman, but the whole intruder eviction and the fact that Nathan got 75% of the vote when no one can remember his name and he may as well not be in there, something about it didn't seem right to me. I suspect that something happened. I'm not sure what, but, the rumours go that he took a swing at Ed and he was forcibly removed, and then maybe Big Brother's gone, we can't really afford to have this bad publicity after the infamous turkey slap from a few years ago and a few other bits and pieces, and said, well, let's cover it up, let's get him back in the house, make it out like it's a normal eviction, film it and then show it later on. I don't know whether that actually happened. I'm inclined to not believe that, because I don't imagine that Big Brother can cover this up for a long amount of time. But something, I don't know, do you guys think the same? Something about that live intruder eviction just seemed really off to me.
It was like, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it.
It was extremely low key, considering they were promoting it.
And Justin almost, they said, the internal housemates have voted you out, and Justin almost got up ready to go. And then Big Brother had to say, but it was actually decided by the public, and this is what we've come up with. So it was, I don't know, the whole thing just seemed really off. It was quite weird, and obviously there was no hugs for him when he left. No one really cared.
And he didn't get to go down the runway. What the?
Yeah, something about it just seemed a bit weird. I'm not sure. But look, I imagine if something did happen, it'll come out, because you can't keep, 8 or 10 people left in the house now. You can't keep all of them quiet forever.
You can't keep a black secret a secret.
Well,
no way.
Well, Justin, in his eviction interview to the house, he did
goodbye message. You mean
a goodbye message? He did throw Tim under the bus a fair bit, and he praised Ed like he was his best long lost mate. So if something happened between him and Ed, I'm not sure. Well, maybe that was his way of an apology or something. I don't know, but
or perhaps Big Brother told him, make sure that you put a bit of curry on it when you're talking about Ed, so that you throw everyone off the scent.
Yeah.
There's going to be a million different conspiracy theories.
No, exactly, you're right there.
The whole truth, but I suspect that at some stage, if it did happen, we'll find out about it.
Yes. Look, meanwhile, we've let's just discuss Nathan, since he was the one that was left in the house. We've barely seen him all week. I've heard, he's made comments about he doesn't like housemates bitching about.
I don't like him now. I liked him when he first went in, and now I just don't like him. His fingernails are really, really dirty. And I noticed that last night. Like, he had his hand on something, and I'm like, you're filthy. Like, there's so much filth and grime right underneath them. They look like 80-year-old hands. And not that I care, but a little bit of personal hygiene, you know.
Forget about the fact that he's boring and he's whingy, dirty fingernails, get him out.
Yeah, I just don't like him now. I really don't like him. I really wish Justin had stayed.
Yep.
The prawn cracker thrower.
He's getting angry because housemates are bitching about each other in his vicinity. And where are they going to go? They've got to make sure that Nathan's not around before they have a sook. I mean, and this is what the Big Brother experience is about.
Exactly.
And he's complained about the public not voting. They didn't vote to save the people that actually ended up going home.
I think this is a horrible, horrible miscast from Big Brother. I mean, I said on the boards the other day, when you injected intruders into the house, and I've shared my opinion that I think it was too late, but when you bring intruders into the house, you bring them in when the energy's getting a little bit low, numbers are dwindling, and everything's starting to get a little bit introverted and not as outgoing and not as entertaining. They've put 2 in. Justin, I think, was probably the right call, except that he may have been a total psychopath. And he was a bit of an idiot as well. But he was at least energetic. He at least provided something different, a point of difference in the house. Nathan is providing nothing, not a thing. And if he was an original housemate, he'd already be gone. That you can't have that as an intruder. You need to have someone go in there, not necessarily stir the pot or shake things up, but just provide some energy. And he's not doing that. He's giving us nothing. I'd forget he was in the house, to be honest.
Look, I'd rather they brought Rohan back.
Yep.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something where you can have a competition where the ones that are evicted early, like Rohan and Xavier, you know, let them compete.
Even Tully, bring her back.
Well, that's another story because that would actually do something for the show. But since then, we've also had new intruders. This time it's the girls' turn. We had
Booger. Oh, Boog. Bug. What's her name? Boog.
Boog. Her real name is Alex, but she likes to be called Boog.
Booger.
She's 23. She's from Melbourne. She's a personal trainer. I think she's
cute.
She came out. She said she wants to get it. Well, she started off saying she wants to get along with everyone. Boring. And Tim started chasing her around a bit as soon as
Tim wanted to be trained by her.
We also had Madeline. She's 24.
I thought she was 44. 34.
She's a lawyer from the Gold Coast, also a fitness model.
I think I've seen her around, you know.
Yeah, she says she's not good at hiding if she doesn't like someone. She has bleached teeth and fake boobs. Caleb would have loved it. God, Caleb, mate, man before your time. What do you guys think of the new intruders? Pardon?
Straight off the bat, I don't like that Boog introduced herself as Boog. It's a nickname. Introduce yourself as, hi, my name's Alex, but everyone calls me Boog.
Yeah.
I think Boog's a stupid name, but to introduce yourself as Boog as if that's your Christian name that your parents gave you is an idiotic thing to do. So I didn't like her off the bat. Then she sounds like one of the lollipop killed from the Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz. My God. I can't stand that voice. I thought Michaela had an annoying voice. This is like nails on a chalkboard. Having said all that, she seems lovely. She's fairly energetic. She's bubbly. She hasn't really done all that much so far. Again, I just think that both of these intruders are miscast. They're not what you want in intruders. And Madeline,
she has done something wrong, Phantom. She used Madeline's toothbrush.
Oh yeah, well that's exciting. That's the highlight of it for me. Madeline, 24. Look, I guess she's good looking if that's your sort of thing. I still think that she ranks well and truly. There's daylight between, Jade, Tahan, Tully and her. She's lagging in the distance there. And they're trying to create, Big Brother is really trying to create this storyline of Madeline, Ed and Jade. I haven't seen any interest from Madeline or Ed to either party there. They've absolutely shown nothing. So the fact that Big Brother's trying to manufacture that just seems really synthetic and forced, and it's just I don't get it. I don't really understand what they're doing, but I just think they're both a bit dull and a bit miscast. They need to do something. Intruders need to do something, and none of the intruders so far have.
No. Well, yeah, Madeline, you're right. Madeline and Ed haven't done anything, haven't shown any sort of signs towards each other, but it doesn't stop Jade from being extremely paranoid about it.
That is true. There is still that angle, which is well and truly there.
I think I told you guys a few weeks ago that Jade was in my top 3 favourite housemates, and
Not now.
She's not now. She's dropped out. I don't dislike her, but I am totally over the excuses she makes for Ed, and totally over the fact.
I'm totally over the 2 of those nitwits.
The lack of the lack of pride she has in herself. It's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
she's got no. Hang on, let me get this out. She has no self-worth.
But just on that, did anybody note that Ed's sister sitting in the audience for the eviction actually said something nice about Jade, despite the fact that they've actually, kind of been putting her down and laughing at her desperation.
She probably felt
over
she had
previous
to.
weeks. Yeah, I wonder, a bit of a switch then. Yeah.
So hold on, now we're saying that Ed's sister is putting on a fake persona outside the house just like Ed puts on inside the house. My God, is anyone in that family real?
I don't think they are.
I think they should bring her in as an intruder. That'll be interesting.
That would be fairly interesting.
Oh, gee. Yeah. Yeah. What else do we say about the intruders? Nothing. Move on. There is nothing.
Not yet.
There's nothing. When the housemates came in at the start of Big Brother, we found interesting people the first night.
Yeah,
And
true.
by night 2 and night 3, some of them were making us laugh, some of them were frustrating us. These ones are doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no,
They're just
true.
existing in a house like they're on holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we had a task during the week. It was sort of like placing. Somebody goes in the diary room, and all the housemates have to arrange themselves in a most to least fashion using various criteria like most sincere, least sincere,
Genuine.
most genuine, most likely to win Big Brother, and so forth. And the person in the diary room sees the footage, doesn't hear any audio, doesn't know what the category is, and has to choose from a list which category the housemates are placing themselves in order for. Anybody find any particular interesting categories?
No, just that Jade got it wrong.
Oh, whack. That's a bit harsh.
If you're going to keep putting Ed up the top of everything, every time you see it up the top, it must be something, biggest star in there. No, I don't know. There was, sorry, Phantom.
I was just going to say they got asked to obviously sort people by how genuine they're perceived to be or how genuine they believe to be, and that caused a bit of friction, which I actually thought might roll on throughout the task if they continued to ask them. It would have been good to see, rank yourself most to least nasty, or rank yourself most to least bitchy, or
Well, Tim would be up there, wouldn't he?
Yeah, just things like that, so that I guess we could actually get a little bit of, they need to sort of manufacture a little bit of stuff at the moment. I think it would have been good to manufacture a little bit of tension and some conflict, because we saw when they were asked to rate how genuine they all were that, Ed got put right up the top, and then they sort of scaled it down, and Tahan and Tim got put at the bottom, which I guess depending, and the argument they had was, what is your interpretation of genuine? Now, I tended to agree with Tahan and Tim that they are probably more genuine, even if that does mean that they can be a little bit upsetting and grate on people from time to time with the things that they said, but that's not the way the housemates saw it, and they said that they were trying to do it to ensure that whoever was in the diary room picked it correctly, which, it was just interesting to see, I think, and I wish that they had have done a few more where it created that conflict, but they sort of didn't. I think they bailed out on it a little bit.
It was all being decided by the clique, the Jade, Michaela, Sugar Sisters, and Ed clique. They decided where everybody stood.
It was interesting with the task as well, as you said. Jade, Michaela, and the Sugar Sisters were controlling that, but at the same time, they were claiming not to. They all sort of stood there. I think Tahan raised the point of saying that when they were talking about one of the, I think it might have been the genuine one, she was saying the girls kept saying, "Oh, we don't care where we go, we don't care where we go," but they would not move. Yeah. They just stood where they were and they refused to move. So, the Sugar Sisters they do seem like genuinely nice people. I'm just, they are what they are, but at the same time, I think that Michaela, the Sugar Sisters, and Jade did have that click, and they did feel very powerful. I think a lot of that did go to their heads. They felt like they were controlling a lot of aspects of it and they become very comfortable in that setting.
Look, prior to the eviction last night, we've been hearing this promoted all week, really. Tully's back. And people were speculating, back in what capacity? Is she going in the house for some sort of a task? Is she being allowed back in the house? That's not fair, you know. We paid to evict her. Well, no, you didn't. You just did, you know, you paid to save others. But, you know, I get the point. There were a lot of people that voted for the Sugar Sisters to get rid of Tully that otherwise wouldn't have, and I think that's been borne out since. But all it ended up being, in the end, was Tully... ask Tully. Tully's coming on stage to answer your questions. All the questions you had about, you know, her relationship with Drew and whatnot.
Is this where I have my spiel now? Or?
Well, yeah, no, I just want to ask what everybody's view was on it.
Could I please go first, Phantom?
Absolutely.
Thanks very much. I would just like to say, okay, firstly, to everybody that listens to this really, like, famous podcast now, is, I actually stick by what I say from last week, but, and it's a big but, B-U-T, I just want to kind of explain that when I saw Tully's interview, I actually thought she handled herself extremely well. I think she came across very confident. She looked beautiful, and she just had her hair done, which I'd noticed, and answering those questions, she didn't she didn't break once, you know what I mean? Like, she was continuously handling herself really well. And I just want to say that I don't think I'd be her best friend, but I actually think I was a little bit too harsh on the girl last week. And sometimes when we're wrong, some people can admit they're wrong and some people can't. I'm going to be a big girl and I'm going to admit that I might be slightly wrong last week. I think I may have taken Tully in another way. And I'm just saying that I wish the girl the best of luck for the future. If she ever listens to the podcast, no harsh feelings or anything like that.
Of course she's going to.
But no, I'm not going to bore the viewers anymore. I just wanted to come out and say, yes, I was a bit cranky last week. Probably not on my best form last week. We all have weeks where we're a little bit off. But I was frustrated last week with Tully. But I'm sorry in that way.
I'll jump in and make allowances for you here, because Tully's house persona is vastly different to her outside real life.
Her
persona.
social persona, being in social networking and all that.
She's a different person outside of the house,
yes.
So you're fully entitled to have your opinions about what she did inside the house. No issue whatsoever on that regard. All's forgiven.
Thank you. Let's move on.
And by the way, yes, she did look good. She looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah, she looked hot. She just had her hair done. Looked great.
Phantom.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Tully, and I've made no secret of that. I think she was one of the best housemates in there, and I personally think that the house has been quite a bit duller this week without her, and I know that Mrs. Odian doesn't agree with me on that particular
I
instance,
actually do now, in a way.
Yeah, I think a lot...
You were right, Phantom.
I think a lot of the storylines, if you like to call them that, in the house revolved around Tully. She was a really central figure in the house. So I think with her gone, we're a little bit of the loss for it. But, you know, she looked absolutely amazing tonight. She's a stunning girl. And I think that she's handled herself really well ever since she got out of the house. Certainly, as ODN said, and as you've raised before, what we've seen of her outside the house just seems so much vastly different to what we saw inside the house. And she's very calm. She's collected. She can explain herself. She doesn't, cry at the drop of a hat and break down all the time. And to be frank, she's been hit with some fairly confronting questions. She got pushed on it tonight to basically say, your girlfriend dumped you. Now, to have to admit that on live television wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world, I would imagine. So, I think she's handled herself really well, and she's been honest. And the only real disagreement that we had last week, we all agreed that her behaviour wasn't appropriate inside the house. The disagreement was more based around the fact that we didn't think that she necessarily owed the public to go up and answer questions, especially about her personal life, in that way.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. She shouldn't have. I'm totally with you now, Phantom.
Yeah.
Thinking back, she's got nothing to. She did last night, answering those questions to the public, was a very big thing for her to do. And I really respect her for that. Good on you, Tully.
And it's something we don't necessarily, we wouldn't have an expectation of anyone else to do. And Tully's, for all intents and purposes, she's not a celebrity. She did go on Big Brother. She did put herself up to have her behaviour judged to some degree, but that doesn't necessarily entitle all of us to sit there and throw questions at her and throw tomatoes at her in our soapbox. But to her credit, she took it under consideration that perhaps she did owe the people not necessarily an explanation, but at least to be able to give her side of the story. And I think she did it really well. So it was good. And I guess the only thing that I really took out of it is that she's gagging for Drew to get out of the house so that she can start dating him.
Look, they look genuinely in love with each other in the house. But, there was a few, Drew saying that he was going to, if his ex-girlfriend would have him back, he'd go straight back to her. Sort of him not knowing whether Tully would forget about him as soon as she got out. There was a little bit of certainty, and she got out in her first interview after she got out. She downplayed it. We're just friends, all good. I'll sit at a table and judge prospective suitors for all the boys, including Drew, when because they're great guys, that kind of thing. She's obviously gone away. She's found out where she stood or contributed to ending that relationship or whatever's happened. She's obviously wanting Drew. She's very touched by some of the things she's seeing in the house from him. How he's still sort of pining for her in a way, which isn't a good thing while you're still in the house, by the way, Drew. But, and she's keeping her cards close, but she doesn't want to outright say, yes, I will have a relationship with Drew, because she's scared that he'll get out and not want that.
And then she'll look like.
But if he gets out and he says yes,
I reckon there could be a wedding.
I don't know if I'll get past the car park. I'm setting up cameras down in the Dreamworld car park and see if we can capture that and have our own Big Brother eviction special, because.
That'll be another Snap podcast.
You're right, those two.
That'll be a blue one, that one.
They're not going to be able to keep their hands off each other, and I don't know that they're going to make it back to any of the lavish surface paradise.
And guess what? I'll be the first one to see it live, because I'll be there. Following them like a stalker.
The only concern that I have for their fledgling relationship outside the house is that what Drew has seen of Tully is not what we're now seeing of Tully. She's almost a different person. Is he still going to love her without all the drama, which he openly said he loved?
Oh, look, I think the drama's there. I think that's still part of her.
You reckon?
But yeah, well, she's got no reason. The pressure's off at the moment, so that there's nobody to bounce off as far as drama. So he'll still get his share of drama with her, no doubt. But he won't necessarily get all the weepiness all the time. Although her friends say she is very much that way. So I think at home she'll still be, have a lot of that sort of Tully about her, but.
It won't be as exaggerated.
He was concerned at different times, saying, what am I getting myself into? I'm over my head because of the level of drama.
Yes, but it's exaggerated in the house.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's going to get a more perfect version of Tully for him.
Mm.
Well, good on him.
Yeah, congrats.
Go for it, Drew.
Look, love is formed in the weirdest ways and the weirdest places, and yes, there are victims sometimes. And but if I would rather it be true love between the two of them and these two get together, rather than having ruined a relationship for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, good on them. Moving on. We had actually, let's have a chat about some of the other funny things that have gone on in the house during the week. Tim and Drew were running
Maggie Noodle,
a day spa.
God, that was funny. I nearly wet my pants.
Gee, did we see the comedic side of Tim
that
come out in that particular episode? And now he was putting on an Asian voice, and I straight away went. Hang on, is anybody going to take offence to that?
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. I thought, I wonder how Michaela's going to feel about this, and then I actually went, I wonder how Tahan's going to feel about this.
But he did it in front of Tahan. He was saying she was one of his. They were both down there getting massaged and whatnot, and nobody's gone in the diary room and had a complaint about Tim stereotyping Asians.
Which was interesting as well, because later on, I think the same day, he was having a bit of a whinge to, I think it was Ben, about Nathan really fitting the stereotype of the gay man. And he said, it's not necessarily that I hate the gay stereotype, I just hate stereotypes, which was a bit interesting given that he was just doing a stereotypical Asian accent.
Yeah.
Thus is the conundrum that is Tim. We
Yeah.
shan't try and understand him.
And we all forgive him because it was one of the most funniest things that we've seen all
Tim's
year in
Tim,
the
and
house.
Tim is fantastic.
Yeah.
God, it would be boring if Tim wasn't in there.
Yeah, we know.
Tim's one of those people, and everyone knows one, that he can get away with anything. Doesn't matter what he says, doesn't matter who he said it to, everyone would just laugh and go, that's Tim. Some of the stuff that he said, if I said it, I'd probably get flattened in the house within 2 seconds, but he gets away with it because he's hilarious and he's entertaining.
Yeah, agreed. We had the eviction last night. Obviously, it's moved to Wednesday nights. And the Sugar Sisters are no more. They're gone. They're gone. And we knew it was going to happen eventually. And we probably thought it wasn't going to cause... Well, it's not going to cause too much ripple as far as our viewing experience goes because, you know, they were very, very, very positive. I think what it seems to do is it creates a little bit of a vacuum because you've lost 2 people instead of 1. So it does, that part of it's noticeable. But, look, Katie and Lucy went home. They had 12.3% of the save votes. Michaela had 14.4%, Ed 14.4%, Drew 17.1%, Jade 17.6%, and Tim 24.2%. Thoughts on the eviction, guys? Mrs. ODN?
Oh, it was fantastic. Oh, Sugar Sisters. I just love them. I love everything about them. I was so sad to see them go.
It was so fantastic. You're sad to see them go. And
No, it was great. It was a really good eviction. Sonia looked great again. But I was really sad the Sugar Sisters left. And I know I've said in the past that I wasn't a big fan of the Sugar Sisters, but when they looked at Tim and said, please look after him, and they were so kind of like they knew Ben would be distraught, and he was. I just thought that was great.
Yes. Okay.
But I liked what Big Brother did tonight. Michaela and Ben were in the room sleeping like together, but not together, like together in the same room. And they said, oh, you know, you've obviously had a tough couple of days. And, you know, Big Brother said, just shut your eyes now and try and go to sleep. And Michaela said, I love you, Big Brother. I thought that was really sweet.
Oh, God. Where's my bucket?
He's getting a bit softer, isn't he?
I'm getting a bit harder.
In what way?
Whoa. Pump the brakes, kids.
Well, you can't have to edit that out. You can't say that.
No, of course you can. Leave that in. That's the stuff our viewers want to hear. There's no more up late. This is the stuff.
No more up late.
Look, the only disappointing part of the eviction from last night was that I got my tip wrong and that I managed to convince ODN to go with the wrong tip yet again.
Hey, I got it wrong too, Phantom. It's not just you.
Yeah, but I don't think I convinced you to vote for Ed. I'm pretty sure I convinced ODN. He seemed very set on the Sugar Sisters and I convinced him Ed was the right call.
No, look. I did think because Ben wasn't up for eviction that because of last week, Ben and Ben's supporters jumped across and threw some votes to the Sugar Sisters. But then that was to get, and I didn't really, I underestimated how much they wanted to get rid of Tully rather than how much they wanted to save the Sugar Sisters. So, yeah. So look, I'll take. I won't blame you this week. I'll take that on. Take that up myself.
Thanks, mate. Look, the eviction itself was what it was. I'm not terribly disappointed to lose the Sugar Sisters. They were very positive, and I think that they were probably quite a bit of a crutch for a lot of people because there were 2 of them, and because you could sort of not that Lucy or Kate, well, whichever one it was, the one that didn't speak, not that she necessarily gave a lot, but you could sort of always go to them and they'd make you feel better about yourself. Because they are so positive. So I think it'll be interesting. And a few people raised on the boards as well that the Big Brother shouldn't do that again, that there is somewhat of an advantage in having 2 people as one housemate. So I personally think it's a handicap because I don't think anyone's ever going to vote for 2 people as one person to win.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And yeah, it wasn't a disappointing eviction. Of the people that could have gone home, I'm probably glad that it was them. I know that I tipped Ed to go, but I'm actually kind of enjoying watching the banter between him and Tim and the fact that Ed continues to talk about having cards up his sleeve. He must have quite a few decks up his sleeve with the amount of times he said it.
Apparently Sonia's even making smart-ass comments about what Ed's going to reveal once he gets out.
They put a really good montage together tonight of all the times that Ed has talked about having cards up his sleeve or playing his cards or waiting.
Oh, there you go.
Tonight, and I reckon they're up to day 60 something now, and I reckon he's done it probably every 3 or 4 days from about day 20 onwards. So he just keeps talking about it, and he keeps going, I've got to try and weigh up when I play my cards, and you can't play them too early, big brother. He sounds like an idiot, but it's awesome to watch. It's hilarious.
There was a fair bit of devastation in the house, wasn't there? Michaela was inconsolable with the Sugar Sisters going. Jade was obviously very upset, and she was very close, and Ben broke down a fair bit himself. That was probably just as much emotion we've seen for anybody's eviction. It does go to show how much of a support network they had going in that little clique of theirs.
I think Michaela was just channeling her inner Tully, wasn't she?
Well, maybe. Maybe. I thought Jade was the one that probably had the right to be more upset, but...
I'm getting the impression more and more that Jade has all the emotional range of a cardboard cutout. She doesn't show a lot. I mean, other than seeing her shake when she gets really nervous, she never
that
seems
must
to
be a disorder. Is it like an anxious thing?
Oh, she's shocking with her nerves, but other than seeing her when she's nervous, she doesn't really tend to show any emotion about anything.
Oh,
I feel sorry for her in that department.
She cried when Jasmine kissed Ed.
Well, her actions over Ed are completely unjustifiable and make no sense in any reality that you want to live in. So
No, I just don't see. I mean, that's still a story, still to be played out, isn't it? So that'll be interesting when one of them goes and what they see, especially if Jade's going soon and she looks back and sees what Ed's saying to other people.
Yeah, that would be interesting, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right on. We had the nominations tonight. Jade had the superpower. She was known as the Auditor. She got to pick 3 files, 3 housemate files, which basically showed their nominations from the night, and she got to cancel out one of them.
And they had to get shredded.
And this all happened after she had voted herself too, so I'm just like, I just didn't find that a very good power at all. They made out it was a huge one, but I didn't think it was particularly impressive, except she does know what 3 people in the house, the way they voted this week. But
and she did say some quite revealing things as well. So
yeah, voting for friends.
She picked out Tahan's file, whereby Tahan voted for Michaela and Ed. She picked out Ben's file.
Yeah, I don't like
Ben
Jade because she nominated Ben again.
And she picked out Tim's file, and he voted for Ed and Drew. So that's the part probably that would have surprised her.
She did say that she was a bit surprised Tahan had voted for Ed as well because she thought that they were friends. But I think they're voting now, and it's not necessarily about whether they're friends or enemies. It's more about who do you think you can beat, and it's strategic now. So, and it should be. I mean, Tim said that when he nominated Drew. I'm sure he doesn't want to, in terms of I don't want Drew to go, but I also want to beat him at some stage for $250,000. So
no, that's exactly right.
That's right. And look, and there's only seven original housemates left, and
that is actually one that I do want to tee off on a little bit. Right. Why the hell was Nathan not allowed to be nominated this week?
I know, because you know why? Because it was under a week.
Who cares? Big Brother makes his show. He can do whatever he likes.
I know. He can change the rules at any time.
He can do whatever he likes, and short of kicking Nathan out, which I think he should do because he's useless, he should have allowed him to be nominated, and I guarantee you Nathan will be up, and I guarantee he'd gone.
Hang on, what's under a week?
He said that Nathan had only been in the house under a week, so therefore
that's not true.
Yes.
That's not true. We spoke about Nathan going into the house last week.
No. Sorry, let me clarify that. He has been in the house under a week as a fully fledged housemate.
Who gives a rap? That's ridiculous. He's still been in the house for that week. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying Nathan gets another week, right? And then he's up. So he's basically got 2 more weeks in the house for people to get a look at him, because nominations next week will probably get nominated, but then eviction next Wednesday. So he's got nearly 2 weeks now. So 3 weeks before he's a chance of leaving. One of the female housemates is probably going to get the same deal.
The intruders.
Yeah, the intruders. So you're going to lose one. So you're going to find that by the time the intruders are up, you're going to find there's going to be 4 or 5 original housemates, or maybe 5 original housemates left, and a couple of intruders still in there. They're getting it's a little bit of an armchair ride down to the last few, if you ask me.
Massively. They've brought them in way too late. They're giving them, in my opinion, too cushy a ride, and they've cast them really badly. I just think the whole intruder scenario this year has been really, really poorly handled by Big Brother. I think they've botched it big time, and I think it's been one of the better series. I think it's been very entertaining, and they've managed it really, really well. But the intruders, they've ballsed it up big time. They've struggled to do a worse job with the intruders this year.
Yeah.
And from a strategy point of view, which I just want to point out as well, and I reckon Tim might actually be onto this. If I was one of the original housemates, I'd be keeping the intruders around to the end. They're an easy beat.
Exactly.
True.
I would be, but that's just me, and I guess you might not think that way in the house because you can't really judge how the outside world is seeing them. But, I mean, Tim's smart enough to know that Nathan's not going to garner any popularity with the way he's behaving.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
We will see, yeah. Look at
Very smart.
So
smart
at
thing
the
to
end of the day, Tahan had 8 votes, Tim 7 votes, Drew 4 votes, Ben 4, Ed 4. Big Brother put all 5 of them up. He didn't
and
do
thank
any
God
tiebreakers.
Michaela's safe.
Kayla had 3, Jay didn't have any because she has a superpower, and people are very predictable in that regard. So, look, guys, Tahan, Tim, Drew, Ben, and Ed, they're our choices this week.
Goodbye, Ed. See you later.
Well,
Have a nice trip back home.
oh, you've got to keep voting for him, don't you?
I'm not voting for Ed. It's not a vote to evict.
No, you've got to keep nominating him to leave on the podcast.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Phantom, who do you think's going home?
I couldn't hit the arse side of a barn with my predictions, so no one should listen to anything I say, but I agree with Mrs. ODN. I think Tahan still is interesting enough, and I think, she had a little hide-and-seek thing that she did with Tim the other night, which was pretty entertaining. There are a few other bits and pieces. Tim's not going home. There's no chance of that. Ben's not going home. There's no chance of that. Drew, I hope that he still has the votes to save, but I don't know. I think it's going to be between Ed and Drew.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I think it'll be Ed. I'll say Ed, and I kind of don't want it to be Ed anymore because he's funny to watch because he thinks he's a genius and he's not.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I kind of want him to be out of the house so that he can find out just how much of a genius he wasn't. Look, that'll be great TV.
And you want to see Jade break down.
Look, last week, if you saw the save percentages prior to the eviction, I don't know, half an hour before the lines were still open.
3 people were tied.
Yeah, you had one. You had the one coming last, which was obviously the Sugar Sisters on 13.5%. You had 3 housemates on 15.1, and at the end of it, Katie and Lucy had gone down to 12.3, Michaela 14.4, and Ed 14.4, which means that one of those ones on 15.1 in that last 30 to 60 minutes shot up. Now, whether it was Drew on 17.1 or Jade on 17.6, I don't know, but I'd assume it was probably Drew because he has the lower vote there. So he shot up in that last little bit by a couple of percent, which means there were a lot of late votes coming in for Drew. So he's still got some support there. His supporters obviously got more.
They were late doing it, but they did it.
They got fearful, and so. For that reason, I'm hoping that they do the same again, and it'll be Ed that's going home. Touch wood again, people, but it'll be interesting. I do want to see Jade's reaction.
She'll have a meltdown.
I do want to see Ed explain himself because, and I want to see how far Big Brother takes that explanation. As far as stuff that's gone on outside the house and his whole strategic plans and whatnot. And yes, let's face it, he reckons he's going to throw a few bombs. So obviously his parting message to the housemates will probably throw Tim under the bus again. But
that's nothing new.
Does Tim care anymore?
No. And as we said last week, Ed's got donuts.
That's right. Exactly. Before we sign off, I just wanted to give a shout out to anybody that we can remember, people that we know are sort of, have listened to the podcast and liked the podcast when we put it up on BigFooty.
Or disliked the podcast.
And again, we've had another comment come in during the week from our friend in the UK.
Hi, our friends in the UK.
But I'm trying to remember names, and I haven't gone there. And I apologise to anybody that I haven't mentioned. But shout out to people on the BigFooty Big Brother thread, the likes of New South Wales Crow, Shell, Bax or BACCS. I don't know how to what that stands
And
for.
feel free if you would like to write comments about us. Any feedback is good feedback. Even if it's negative feedback, we'll work on it.
They'll give the feedback. Don't you worry. And other.
And maybe we could give you shout outs every potty, and we can just read through. We'll basically read out the comments. That'd be great.
I reckon we start a segment each week, which should just be comment of the week from the boards. And we pick one and just analyse it and laugh over it. So if you've got a funny one, lay it out there. We love
And
that
I really miss Banana. Where's he gone? Banana, come back. Just for one episode. If he's listening.
We'll ask
I
Banana.
need my potassium.
We'll ask Banana if he wants to come back on next week. And then you've got people who like to take contrary stances and make the boards very lively and stuff, and we appreciate them too. The likes of Cynical, and I can't think of any others. Phantom, you think
Silent Alarm's always a controversial.
Silent Alarm, there you go.
I love his work, so keep it up.
Yeah.
Maybe his alarm might want to go off sometime soon.
Maybe.
Get it? Silent alarm.
Well,
Okay. No time for jokes.
After this week, Phantom doesn't need a silent alarm. He needs all the alarms he can get.
That I do.
Yeah. Anyway, it feels like we're petering out just like the house has this week, people.
Like a warm glass of milk.
Yes. I'm just going to go slip my little slippers on and if I can borrow Nathan's dressing gown, that would be nice. Oh dear, Nathan. Look.
Go clean your fingernails, Nathan.
There was one thing we know about Big Brother is just when you think something's petering out to nothingness, something extraordinary will happen, or Big Brother will have a surprise around the corner. So I reckon next week's going to liven up, and we'll be here to tell you all about it. All right, until next week, it's good night, Mrs. ADN.
Good night.
It's better every week.
And I don't know if he can top it. It's good night, Phantom.
Yeah, you got no chance of me topping that. Good night, guys.
And once again, it's good night from me. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody, you lovely people.
Have a good one.
Bye.